Hello everyone, welcome back to Quiz Whiz. I'm here, Priyadarshan PD, your host and your quiz master. So, like I guess 2 days back, I was talking about my trekking experiences and how trekking is this one hobby which is I really am attached to. So, I wanted to talk about one of my treks in particular, which I had mentioned about on that day. So, the trek that I want to talk about is my Annapurna Base Camp trek. So this trek was about 8 days, and so initially I flew from Mumbai to Kathmandu, and from Kathmandu I had a connecting flight which took me to a place called Pokhara. Now Pokhara, trust me, it's a small district. It's a small district in Nepal, but it is so beautiful, so beautiful. So it's covered by a lake on one side, and there's one street which is like just filled with clubs and lounges and live music sessions. And trust me, these indie bands, like this is the type of music we don't generally commercially listen to, but really it took me by storm. I reached there a day before the trek, and it was really just amazing. From there, that was the day I got to meet all my trek mates. We could interact with our trek leader, and that's when we moved on. Started off with our trek, and while we were going, this time I had not prepared myself physically very well as compared to my previous treks. So I knew it was going to be a little more difficult. I'd also put on some extra weight at that time, and plus you always have your 9 kg backpack with you, so that's always there. But my proudest movement. So we went to this one place called Dovan. We trekked till Dovan. From Dovan we went to a place called MBC, that is Macha Puchre Base Camp. Now, fun fact for you, Macha Puchre is actually a virgin peak. So that mountain, Macha Puchre, is a virgin peak. No one has ever climbed it till today. And from MBC, we went to ABC. That is our Annapurna base camp. So we could see Annapurna South, Annapurna 1, Annapurna 2, and Annapurna 3. So the whole range was just visible to us. It was spectacular. Trust me, when I reached there, when we reached the top, we were so exhausted, but couldn't help but, just have this feeling of accomplishment, this sense of success. And we carried a small Indian flag with us, which we, stood there and took pictures. The wind speeds were pretty high, so we couldn't wait at that point for very long. But even the excruciating cold couldn't stop us from really, relishing that moment. I still remember some of my other trek mates, they were on the verge of crying, but it was just such a beautiful and blissful experience. So I really wanted to share that with all of you. Now, that being out of the way, I think it's time we can get back to our quiz. So here are the answers for yesterday's questions. So yesterday's question number 1. What originated in the rice growing region of Southeast Asia over 2000 years ago along the Mekong River? Subsequently, the technique then spread to other regions, specifically appearing in Japan around the 8th century AD. So, what are we talking about? So, the thing that originated, or what we are talking about, is chopsticks. So, chopsticks, that's how it really originated, and that's where it comes from. So that was our first answer. Moving on to our second question. What did the Indian space traveler Rakesh Sharma say when he was asked by the then Prime Minister Indira Gandhi how India looked from space? So what he said was, Sare jahan se acha. So like we know, Sare jahan se acha, Hindustan hamara. So that is what he said when he was on call with Indira Gandhi. So that is really cool, I think. Moving on to our third question for yesterday. Toru Iwantawi, the video game designer, got inspired by the shape of a pizza with one slice removed. And he came up with what? Or what did he what was the brainchild? So what we're talking about, I think if you can imagine the shape, many of you would have cracked this. So what we're talking about is Pac-Man, the game Pac-Man. So the main character is actually a whole pizza with just one slice removed, and he keeps eating the bits, right? So that is how Pac-Man came into existence. Now moving on to our fourth question for yesterday. To conserve cooking fuel, food was chopped into small pieces so that it could cook faster. These bite-sized foods eliminated the need for knives, and thus Dash was invented. So what was invented? So what we are talking about is chopsticks. So that's what we used to eat. So actually, the answer for the first question wasn't chopsticks. The answer for the first question was sushi. So the dish sushi, that is how that had originated. The answer for this is chopsticks. And now moving on to our last question for yesterday. Which company, which bears a name of a Mumbai suburban station, has become India's first domestic FMCG brand to cross the INR 5,000 crore in retail sales? So I think for Mumbaikas, this would have been an easy one. So the answer is Parle G. So these were our 5 answers for yesterday. I hope you really liked it. So I'm moving on to the 5 questions for today. So let's get to it. So here's question number 1. Which iconic building is the first in India to have electric lights as well as installed a steam elevator which is operational to this day? So which iconic building are we talking about? Now moving on to our second question for today. Who is the only batsman to hit a six on the first ball of a cricket test match? We're not talking about ODIs, we're not talking about T20s. In a test match, he's the only batsman to hit the first ball for a six. Who are we talking about? Now moving on to our third question for today. What term was derived from the abbreviation used in the army for the general purposes vehicle? So what was this term which came up as a result of this? Now, moving on to our fourth question for today. Who authored the national anthem for Bangladesh? Not for India, but for Bangladesh. So I want you to tell me the name of that person. And now, moving on to our fifth question for today. Which company is the largest distributor of toys in the world? So this is a sort of a trick question. I want to see whether you guys can get it right. So these were our 5 questions for today. I hope you enjoyed it. And please do not forget to leave your answers in the comments below. And a shout out here to Kinnari Dedia, because she has been responding and most of her answers have been correct. So here's to you. And I'll be seeing you all again tomorrow with some more questions, some more fun answers. Please do not forget to share, like, and subscribe to the channel. And we will be back. Till then, please stay safe, take care, and wish you a very good night.